Are you a coach or consultant and wondering if it's time to raise your prices? If you tune into your gut, you can probably quickly get that answer to that question. So many coaches and consultants have a lot of fear and anxiety around raising their prices. So if this is you, know that you're not alone. I want you to trust that feeling because that's your intuition guiding you that you're likely undercharging and it's time to raise your prices. And to help you justify that yes, your intuition is right, stay tuned as I share 5 signs it is indeed time to raise your prices. Hi, I'm Jessica Yarbrough, top business strategist, and coaches and consultants hire me to help them 2x to 10x their pricing, moving them into selling high 5-figure and even multiple 6-figure deals. So I know a lot about pricing strategy because it's a huge part of what I help my clients with. By the way, if these topics interest you, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll say that the majority of clients that come to me are indeed undercharging. And as I've shared in other videos, this could be because they are truly unaware of what the market is willing to pay, coupled with some measure of imposter syndrome around raising their prices. They may believe they don't know enough to raise their prices or have fear that if they raise their prices, they're not going to close as much business. This is not true. And what happens when you don't raise your prices and you continue to undercharge for your services, it's disastrous for your business. So let's dive into 5 signs it's time to raise your prices. Number 1, the number 1 sign it's time to raise your prices is that you start to resent your clients. And look, you may love your clients and hopefully you're working with some awesome people, but if you're undercharging and you need to raise your prices, you're going to start to feel resentful. And unfortunately, most people start to resent and don't make a change, and then that resentment builds. So if you're over-delivering and undercharging, that is a losing game. You do not want the energy of resenting your clients coming into your relationship. So that means it's time to have the conversation around raising your prices. And here's the thing, your clients likely know that they're underpaying for your services, but no one's gonna volunteer to pay you more money. So until you step up into your power and own your worth and have those seemingly difficult conversations, they will continue to pay you less than what they should. And no one is to blame for that but you. And that may seem harsh, but it's the reality. And I've seen this time and time again with my clients and my colleagues where they say, I wish I would have had the courage to step up and raise my prices sooner. Most of the time, if they're good clients, and if you have the dreaded, I'm raising your rates conversation, they'll nod their head and say something like, yeah, I know I've been getting a deal all these years, which may make you upset, but you allowed it. So if you're starting to feel that resentment, don't wait months or even years and allow it to build. Raise your prices now. Number 2, the second sign it's time to raise your prices is you are exhausted. If you are burning the candle at both ends and serving a ton of clients just to try to make ends meet, that's a sign that it's time to raise your prices. Many clients come to me stuck in the low all the way to high 6 figures. And oftentimes these coaches have a lot of clients, but they're not charging enough. So in order to hit their income goals or even maintain their current revenue level, they have run themselves ragged just trying to serve their existing number of clients. Newsflash, you can't pour from an empty cup. And you certainly can't maintain that over a long period of time. You are on the path to burnout. And if your goal is to scale, where are you gonna get the time and energy to grow your business? You're not. So if you are exhausted serving your current clients, the answer is not to go get more clients paying the same amount of money. Perhaps this was your pricing model when you got started or for the last years, but it's time for a change. Raise your prices. The great clients will stay and they'll be paying more. And the best part, anybody that comes along, you'll now have space to take them on at a higher level. You'll be able to reclaim your time, make more money, and get yourself out of a vicious cycle of exhausting work. Just like my client, a business coach who was exhausted and stuck in the low 6 figures. She knew that she couldn't do more to make more, and she hired me to help her transform her business. One of the very first things we worked on was streamlining her offers, raising her prices, letting go of old low-paying clients, and making the space for the new ones to come in at that higher level. She was able to generate $300,000 in just 2 months of working together, which replaced her entire previous year's income. Pretty incredible, right? She then went on to scale her business to 7 figures in just 1 year. If you haven't read her case study, I highly recommend you check it out. The link is pinned in the comments below. Number 3, the third sign it's time to raise your prices is that your revenue is stagnant. This is very common for entrepreneurs who have reached a certain income level and yet they're stuck. And their income might fluctuate by say $50,000 each year, but they're pretty much staying around the same level. If your revenue is stagnant, that's a telltale sign that it's time to raise your prices. And one of the easiest ways to make more money is by raising your prices. And again, so many coaches and consultants are just unaware of what the market is willing to pay. For example, one of my clients was a former C-suite executive of a major technology company. I told him that we had taken one of my clients who was coaching for 2 years and moved her right into selling $25,000 packages. He couldn't believe it because he was someone with decades of experience in the C-suite and yet charging the same amount for his services as this coach we had just raised. This was a case of him being totally unaware of what the market was willing to pay for someone with his caliber of experience. We quickly doubled his rates and he started selling $50,000 executive coaching packages, which were congruent with his experience in the C-suite. Think about all the money he had been leaving on the table. Number 4, the fourth sign it's time to raise your prices is that you are fully booked out. Look, having a ton of business is awesome, but only if you're making the money that you want to make. Many coaches and consultants will say, oh, I have a great business, and they're working insane hours or with a ton of one-to-one clients. And oftentimes they have a largely referral-based business where more people that are not paying enough are then referring their friends and colleagues to them who are also coming in not paying enough. Look, if you're fully booked out, that means that you're obviously good at what you do and that people want to work with you. However, you need to raise your prices. If you can't take on more clients, that's not a good thing. That means your business isn't built to scale. So you may need to raise your one-to-one prices or your group prices. And if you don't have a one-to-many option, you likely need to create a more scalable strategy. I had one client come to me who was making close to $700,000 a year. And he told me he was so busy that he couldn't even take on a new client if they handed him 6 figures. That's a problem. You see, he was so busy with clients who were paying him way less than they should that he couldn't even take on a higher level client. We fixed this when he hired me, and he was able to cut his clientele in half and get back so much of his time without even impacting his $700,000 revenue. This then opened up space for him to be able to cross the 7-figure mark. Remember that when the demand is high for your services, that's a sign you need to raise your prices. And here's the cool thing. When you raise your prices, that means your clients who are paying more will then refer other people that are going to come in at that higher rate. Number 5, the fifth sign it's time to raise your prices is that you are attracting the wrong clients. This can mean clients who don't do the work, complain, suck your energy, and make you regret signing them in the first place. Pricing is a huge component in attracting the right kinds of clients into your business because no one expects the best coaches or consultants to be the cheapest, and no one expects the cheapest coaches or consultants to be the best. If you're attracting what I call cheaple, those who are looking for a deal, they will typically be pain in the butt clients. Just like my client who is a business strategist who was so frustrated with her current clientele when she hired me. She was only charging them $5,000 and they were not doing the work. And she was pouring her heart and soul and giving them every strategy for them to succeed, but no one was taking action. I showed her how to position herself to go after a higher caliber market that would not only see her value and pay her a whole lot more money, but actually take action and get results. I knew that that would not only fulfill her financially, but also in terms of working with people who took the investment with her seriously, respected her, took action, got results, and because of those results, ultimately helped her grow her own business. So together we helped her raise her prices from $5,000 to $25,000, and she made 6 figures immediately, just in 2 short weeks. And those clients went on to get results quickly. Why? Because they had made a more significant investment. They were higher caliber clientele, and she ended up making more money that year than any time in the history of her business. This wraps up my video on signs that it's time to raise your prices. Be sure to check out my other videos on how to put together high ticket packages and scale to the high 6 and 7 figures. Until next time.